Thank you very much. I've never had two microphones at once, so I'm feeling very pressured here, and also having to follow Dale, who is a legend in the industry, and of course, V-Auto, Dale, and Cox have a very aggressive view of the future. I'll provide a more boring and passive one. I do realize I stand between you and a free open bar, so I'll try to keep my remarks to approximately 3.5 minutes. The most important thing, as far as credentials go, is this project for NADA, the National Auto Dealers Association. This came about in late 2015. NADA was looking around and saw that there were a lot of changes in the automotive world, and they were worried that dealers, who, as you know, think the distant future is the end of the month, were so deep in the trenches that they weren't really looking further forward. And so they said, okay, we'll look further forward, produce a report, and hand it out to dealers. And we started working on it in 2016 and finished it up in late 2016, and then gave it to several of NADA's 4,000 or 5,000 staff attorneys to review. And the final report, about 100 pages long, a PDF file. If you want a copy, I can give it to you. If you read it, that'll make 4 or 5 of us globally, but it's a big report and tries to cover a lot of ground. Caveats about this is not an official NADA view. This is my view, not NADA's. If NADA wanted to write a paper about what they wanted the future to look like, they could have done it in about 2 weeks. It would have been 20 pages long and we'd be done. This is independent. They provided no editorial pressure of any kind. It is my work. I'm responsible for any errors, but if you do read the report, you can see in the acknowledgments section there's some 150 people interviewed, talked to, reviewed, et cetera, et cetera. Many dealers, investors in dealerships, people who looked at investing in dealerships and decided not to invest in dealerships, regulators. We talked to Tesla, but Tesla wrote us an NDA that was so constrictive that all I can tell you is we talked to Tesla. That's it. Then, I'm sorry if I'm blowing into this microphone, I apologize for that. And the second warning, so the first warning is this is not an official perspective, and secondly, I do tend to rant. I will get excited. So just throw a bottle of water at me to run off the rails. 16 chapters in the original report, 8 sort of facing inward at the dealership. The ones in red are the ones I'll hit on very quickly today. And then 8 other topics that were sort of broader, including a lot of focus on the small rural dealership. As you can imagine, NADA has an interesting challenge of trying to be responsive to its larger members, such as AutoNation, but still responsive to very, very small stores in, say, North Dakota somewhere. So we try to do a special chapter on rural dealers. And then the 4 horsemen of the carpocalypse in the lower right, EVs, autonomous vehicles, mobility services, and connected cars. This presentation today represents an extension on the 2018 update. If any of you went to, was it Las Vegas last NADA? The cities and hotels kind of blur together. I think it was Las Vegas, where they asked me to do a 2018 update. I said, well, it's a 10-year look ahead. Does it make sense to update it only 2 years in? They said, sure, why not? So that'll form the core of today's work, then plus things we've learned since early this year. Okay, so on profits, we're going to call it that we're broadly speaking on track, where we are forecasting some softening of product profits. Okay, so the story so far, and then we're done with the bulk of this, and we go into an accelerated romp through the 4 horsemen of the carpocalypse. So far, we give ourselves a passing grade. We're mostly on track. The franchise dealership system remains intact. Many challenges exist, but they can be managed as they have been before. Profits are probably heading somewhat lower. OEM control increases further. Evolution versus revolution, equilibrium versus extrapolation would be our theme. Okay, so to wrap it all up, we're done. We're revising our EV forecast upward by 20% from 5 to 6% penetration in 2025. Autonomous vehicles, we think will definitely penetrate. We don't know how fast. We think they'll be net positive for dealers, just as autonomous vehicles. Mobility services, really hard to see how to actually forecast this, and it will be bad for dealers if it does drive sales down because of shared ride services, but we don't yet see the evidence for that, so it's going to be something new in the future, and connected car is not much of a big deal and is probably fine for dealers. So that's it. I am sorry I think it took more than an hour, can't tell, but appreciate you inviting me here to listen to me rant, rave, and make several off-color jokes. Thank you.